On this week's episode,
Bullet points. He's Kevin.
she's Robyn.
And
we're the Schwobs. Bullet points.
Bullet points.
So,
For marriage, of course.
Of course.
But why put that on there? That takes all the fun. Just bullet. Just bullet points.
Bullets for marriage.
Bullets for marriage. Wow.
Hey.
Now, some people would take that that literally. So, no bullets.
And you would be one of those that would have fun with it.
Oh yeah, I like guns. Guns are cool.
So, as I was praying through what we were going to do, God just kept giving me words and points, and
they're good points. To strengthen a marriage. To grow a marriage. One point I see down here, and I'm not going to take them in the order you put them.
No.
Because I'm crazy like that.
Right.
There's one that stands out that I would really love to know. We have a little cheat sheet down here, just FYI, with all the bullet points on them. Because
I figured it'd be good to have the sheet here versus the phone. So.
Well, not only that, I can't remember all those things. Okay, those who have been pregnant once, let alone 6 times, understand that baby brain goes with you the rest of your life. You don't get your brain back after the child is born, unfortunately. But I want to know why you put vocalize freely on here.
Because I know for me, there was a time where, and I overthink a lot.
All the time.
And there was a time when I would overthink, should I say this to Robyn? How's it going to make her feel? How is she going to react?
Okay, can I stop you right there?
Sure.
Because those aren't bad things to think.
Right.
They're not. The problem is, when he says overthink, I don't know that that's a good enough adjective for what he did. I mean, I know we've talked before, but this is truly his mind thinking, overthinking with things to say to me. Okay? Let's take that imaginary pool. And to the point where, we witnessed this last week's episode, how I just dive into the pool. I get on the high board and I jump. I don't think about how is it going to make people feel, what's going to happen, how is it going to affect me, how is it going to affect others. It comes out.
You Joyce rig it.
I just Joyce it. There's no rigging in this.
Right.
Love you, Mom. But for you, you overthink things to the point of walking up and down the diving board plank, looking over. Could be an inch short. Let me go down, check.
Circle the pool 17 times.
17, try 52. Walk in, walk back out, check the temperature 6,000 times, and get back on the high rise, look down. Oh, I don't think it's full enough. Go back down, check the height of the water, the capacity again.
Right.
To the point where at some point if you are the person waiting for him to get in the water, you just go, the next time he goes on that high rise, I'm coming up behind him
pushing
and
him
I'm
over.
pushing him in.
Well, and last week we talked about one of the points we talked about was safety
Right.
and feeling safe in your marriage.
Right.
And that includes feeling safe to say anything.
Absolutely. You need to be able to vocalize how you feel.
So this is where vocalize freely
freely
came into play because, there was a time, and sometimes it rages back up out of the blue, but where I think, how's she going to react to what I'm going to say? Not that it's going to insult her, not that but
what he's trying to say kindly is she going to blow up at me? Is she going to start yelling and screaming and hollering and get mad at what I say? And he has a valid point there. I am not even going to sugarcoat it. I've had, and it's through forgiveness that I have seen a difference in my anger. Forgiving you, forgiving others. There's this, you know how Santa has his naughty list that's really big? That's my forgiveness list. It goes to ceiling to the floor. Half the names have been cut off, but God's still working on me in this area in forgiveness. But I've learned to breathe and address more calmly. I still yell sometimes. I still have my moments, but I've gotten a lot better at that.
Oh, 100%.
But because of that, he did not feel free to vocalize his thoughts. And that really damaged our marriage and our relationship.
It did. There was a time, and this was in our 10-year funk. There was something that you had said to me, and I mean, it's all been forgiven and gone, but at the time, you said something to the effect of, you don't have a right to hear this or to be in this. And so, subconsciously, I took that in everything. And so I think that's where, as a couple, you need to feel free to vocalize anything.
And I wanna piggyback on something you said there, when I said you don't have the right. Folks, it's feelings. They have that right. It's feelings. So I was wrong, but what I was talking about was he was mad at me for something I did with my intentions.
When they were truly good intentions. Yeah.
And we do this. We all do this. We think about what we want and not what's best for everyone. And in this situation, Kev was thinking about what he wanted. He didn't want to go into a rehab. He didn't want to be away from his family. He was recovering. He wanted to be close to those who loved him. I get that. I understood that. However, there was another, what's the word I'm looking for? Dynamic that he wasn't thinking of.
No. Yeah.
He wasn't thinking of the fact that I worked every afternoon and there was no one home. He wasn't thinking of that we had a son that needed stability and needed me home and taking care of him. He wasn't thinking about the fact that we just walked away from our house and moved into an apartment. Nor was he thinking about the fact that my mother was staying with us. Because I would have come home to a dead husband.
I was about ready to say, I wasn't factoring in that she could have been planning for a funeral and it wouldn't have been her mother's.
No. Those are things he didn't factor in because his focus, he had tunnel focus at that time, which I understand. You have to understand, he and I have worked this out. Otherwise, we could not talk about this on air like this. But he had tunnel vision. He was thinking about what he wanted, what he thought was best for him. I had open vision, which is shocking because I'm normally the tunnel vision person.
I was totally self-centered and didn't realize it at the time.
And I've been self-centered a few times, just a few though, you understand. But I was thinking of the big picture. And I mean, I remember us, your mother and I, standing outside your room after the debacle of overdose and going, okay, what are we going to do? Because at that point, I didn't feel comfortable with you staying there. If they overdose you once, they're going to overdose you again.
Right.
But I couldn't have you, there was no room for you to do your exercises.
No,
and
there was no backup. Yeah.
And for you to and he wouldn't have listened to me anyway. I would have been like, honey, you need to get out. I'm not me. Because when he's ugly, when he's sick, he's ugly. So.
And I was in a walker at that point. And you probably would have just taken the walker and gone, whoops.
Where'd that walker go? I don't know. We've lost it. Okay, get up. But that is why you need to vocalize freely, which goes into openly
share concerns. And that kind of goes along with vocalize freely.
Absolutely.
But it is a little different.
Absolutely.
You know, you need to be able to openly share concerns without hesitation, without what am I trying to think of here? Without being attacked.
That's coming straight from someone who's been attacked. And I'm, again, not sugarcoating things we've been through together. I openly share my concerns all the time. With attitude, I might add.
Proudly.
Proudly, absolutely. He learned very early on in our marriage, unfortunately, to shut his mouth and not share his concerns. Because his concerns were not valid as far as I was concerned. Wives, I'm speaking to both wives and husbands right now. But especially if you're one of these people who are like, it doesn't bother me, so why should it bother you? It's their concern. It's how they feel. It's how they believe. And they weren't raised like you. He was raised with a mother that took his concerns into consideration. I was raised with a mother that said, suck it up, buttercup. It's just, we were raised in two very different households. It is by God's grace that we are together. It is by God's grace that we found each other. But I can say this, after 23, almost 24 years of being married.
Coming up on 24.
I am a better person because of how the two of us have grown and learned. And so it is important for you to openly share your concerns, as well as it is important for you to openly listening to your spouse who's sharing those concerns. Open mind. You need to have an open mind in marriage.
And when you have an
when it comes to concerns, let me throw that in there. Go ahead.
And when you have an open mind to hearing concerns, when you have an open mind to your spouse sharing freely with you, you grow.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, take today. I mean, we sat and talked for 30 45 minutes. And we were growing each other. We were challenging each other. And that's what marriage is all about.
Yeah.
Just because you're being challenged doesn't mean you're being attacked. You're not.
And another one that goes with this is respect.
Mm-hmm.
You need to respect what your spouse is saying.
Mm-hmm.
You need to respect them enough to listen.
Yeah.
And that was something that was missing in our marriage for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Is neither one of us respected each other.
Mm-mm. We just said it, no matter how it came out.
Oh, I was spew evil from mouth
Mm-hmm.
on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
No respect whatsoever. And you need to say things with respect.
Mm-hmm.
You need to listen with respect, but you also need to say things with respect.
Mm-hmm.
It is very RESPECT is very important in a marriage.
100%. Change.
No, I think we need to go because I think we need to leave these two
Okay.
till last.
All right.
Because I think this one and these two, just like these two went together,
Yep.
I think these three go together.
Okay.
Okay, so change starts, respect your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
Invest
Yes.
in your spouse.
When you respect your spouse, you're investing in your
Oh,
spouse.
absolutely. Not only that, there are times in your marriage when investment is very hard.
Mm-hmm.
You work opposite shifts. You
Right.
have kids and you're working opposite shifts, so you don't have to do daycare.
Mm-hmm.
And so, mom's on nights, dad's on days,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't get to spend much time together. Plus, you have 3 kids running around the house. Finding 10 minutes at the end of the day, or
Just for the two of you.
yes, or there's an hour and a half when you guys are home
Mm-hmm.
and together before dad needs to leave or mom needs to leave for the night shift, and you're having dinner together. I am not a huge fan of this, but take 10 minutes, take 20 minutes.
Whatever works for you.
Well, no. That part I'm a fan of.
Mm-hmm.
Put your children in front of the TV. Give them a 30-minute show, a 20-minute show to watch. They'll be engaged in so that you guys can have 20 minutes to talk about the day. So whoever was home with the kids can complain and give you the download.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever was at work can complain and give you the download. Tell good things too.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys can pray together, hug, kiss, whatever. But you have that few minutes of time just invested in each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I truly believe if you do that, if you spend time investing in each other, it will help the whole atmosphere in the house.
100%. 100%. And, it's doing simple things. It's, playing cards with each other. It's just sitting and talking.
Sitting in the living room watching college football, which you hate because your husband loves it.
Or listening to Audible books of things that may be way over your head. Or really, she's listening to this, but she enjoys it. Doing things, and this is one of the things that we love doing is she will sit there, tell me about the book, and it's engaging to her. And some of these things I find engaging.
Most of them go like this over him, but
yeah.
every now and then he grasps onto it. But this is what he asks me all the time. Is this a book you're listening to, or is this the book you're writing? He's like, which book is this? Or my favorite, I will have started a new book. And this just shows that he's engaged.
Mm-hmm.
It sometimes drives me crazy because I've started a new book at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
It's now 6:30, and he goes, did you finish the book? It's a 10-hour book. No, I didn't finish it. Are you on to another book? What book are you listening to now?
Mm-hmm.
Same one I was listening to at 2 o'clock because it's 10 hours. It's
But I
6:30.
didn't know how many hours
It's
were in the book.
6:30 now. Oh, this is when I get sarcastic on him. It's 6:30 now. It was 2 o'clock when I started. Do the math. 10 hours have not passed. But we invest in the things that
That the other one is interested
isn't
in.
interested in.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that I have 2 trees, Christmas trees in this house, is an investment. That my husband really was like, "Do we really need to?" Yes, your mother-in-law gave your mother gave me her old tree. Yes, we need to.
My
Thank you, Ma.
mother-in-law did not give me that
No.
one. No. Mm-mm.
My mother-in-law did.
Yep.
Guys, the best thing you can do is be devoted to each other
Mm-hmm.
in everything you do. And I don't think we really need to go into that.
Because that's self-explanatory.
Here's the one that's the hardest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think we need to change that one. That one makes no sense to me.
Okay.
But change starts with you.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't start with him. Now, we were just discussing this 20 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago, how
Before we came on. Mm-hmm.
How for what, maybe 15 years of our marriage?
Mm-hmm.
15 to 17 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing all the changing and he was reaping all the benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk about frustrating, maddening, wanting to reach out and strangle someone? Oh yeah. But I can't change him.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing I do can change this man. Nothing I say can change this man. I can only deal with the changes that need to happen in me.
Mm-hmm.
And vice versa.
It only happens when you hear and obey what God is telling you to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what it took.
Yeah.
It took me finally hearing and obeying what God was smacking me with that things changed,
Yep.
that I changed.
Yep.
It wasn't until, you did some things that God was telling you to do for you to change.
Yep.
And then we came together and God made everything gel.
Here's another bulletin you need to grasp is you do need to pray.
Mm-hmm.
You do need to read the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Together, apart, both.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever works for you guys. Hear me and hear me good. Praying for your spouse to change isn't going to do you any good. Seriously. Trust me on this one. Lord, change Kevin. Lord, if he was only this way. Lord, if he was only that way. God said, yeah, well, what about you? Why don't you change this? Why don't you change that? Why don't you be more patient?
Mm-hmm.
Patience. Why don't you be less demanding? I'm not demanding. I'm not demanding. What are you talking about? Just because I want this way, and this, why don't you be more of a servant? What do you mean more of a servant? If I was more of a servant, those two would never do anything. This is how I argue. This is how I talk to God. I do not sugarcoat. God knows my heart, so why not tell him it?
Mm-hmm.
And God was like, yeah, he's not the one that needs to change. Thank you very much. Change can only start with you. And where it needs to start is in the heart.
100%.
Your heart needs to change towards your spouse. And I'm saying this because you just heard me whip off a lot of things that was wrong with my husband. And I have a list. Doubled over.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? He has a list doubled over.
Mm-hmm.
Of all the things that are wrong with us. Well, I married this wrong person.
Mm-hmm.
With all his issues. Some of them that I found endearing when we got married.
Yeah.
That are now annoying. Why? Because we've been together for so long. Because they're not cute anymore, and I'm in love with him. I love this man with all my heart.
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not in love with him in infatuation like we were when we first got married.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very different kind of love now.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, things change. And so
Change can be painful, but
can be? No. Change is painful.
right. Change is painful,
But it's good.
but it's for your good.
Yeah.
You know,
It's going to help you guys out.
And, you know, one of the things that, you know, you always hear is that marriage is made up of two imperfect people, and that can't be any more true. It really and truly is, because no matter how perfect you may think you are, you've always got room for growth. Uh-oh, here we go. Come on.
I don't need to grow. I'm perfect just the way I am. Imperfections
Yes, you
and
are.
all.
Yes, you are.
We each bring our own closet full of damaging baggage.
Right.
And you put it together, it's going to explode. There's going to be issues. There's going to be problems. If you're devoted and invested, if you vocalize your concerns openly, if you respect your spouse, and if you are willing to change, and if you build your marriage knowing that God's the third person in it, helping you get stronger and deal with these things, excuse me, then all you're going to do is grow, and you're going to have a strong, tight, not perfect, not without its issues, not without its complaints, not without its headaches. We live in an imperfect world. We're two imperfect people. There's going to be trouble. There's going to be hard times.
Right.
But you're going to get through it better because 100%. You're united.
Amen. Amen. And on that note, if you go ahead.
If you've been enjoying our podcast, please remember to
like,
share,
and subscribe.
Until next time.
Thanks for hopping on.